Hi guys, I'm so excited, I'm back. Well, you might not be, but I am. I have been meaning to podcast for so long, it's not even funny. So anyways, super excited, ridiculously nervous. It's like, feels like the first time in a long time, but yeah, let's go. So for those of you who know who I am, hello, it's nice to see you again. I've missed everyone. I've missed podcasting. And for any of you that are new, welcome to my channel. My name is Jaden. This is the Little Prairie Purl. Nope. Oh, I see. It's been so long since I've done it that I don't even remember the name. This is the Purl Up and Die podcast. So normally, my channel consists of knitting and yarn dyeing, but I've taken about a year and a half hiatus. So we will do an update about life, what's going on with me and all that kind of stuff. But I'm also going to be introducing cross stitch and some sewing this time around because I've kind of dived into that head first again. So anyways, like I said, my name is Jaden. I live in Saskatchewan, Canada. What else? What else do I usually say at the intro? I can't even remember. You can find me on Instagram as Little Prairie Purl and also as midknitcravings because I own that company with my sister Tara. You can find me on Ravelry as well as creationsonawhim as well as midknitcravings. Is that where you can find me? I guess that's where you can find me. So let's just jump in. So I don't even know where to start. Should I start with knitting? Should I start with whips? Life update? Maybe I'll start with life update. Okay, so where I've been. So it has been about a year and a half, which was accidental. So last time I checked in with you guys, let me grab my coffee. I'm gonna have to, this is gonna be a long one. Sit back, maybe grab something for yourself. This is gonna take a while. This is like the best mug ever. Yawn is my silent scream for coffee. It's a little big, but whatever. Anyways, okay, so yes, it's been about a year and a half. I think I checked in with you guys last April. Shortly before my last podcast, I was having some health issues, and I do remember talking about that. So if you want a recap of all of that, you can find that in my last podcast. Long story short, I'd gone into cardiac arrest. I almost died. I didn't die. Was planning on picking up the podcast in earnest after that, and then, you know, it was 2020. So that did not happen. So yes, sorry, if I'm looking around, it's just like, it's really hard to just focus on the camera. I'll try to be better. So what happened? What happened? I don't remember. This is gonna, yeah, recap a whole year and a half. This is gonna be interesting. But okay, so that was in April and of 2020. My kids had just gotten out of school for the year. We were kind of unsure what was going to happen. And of course, we didn't know what was going to happen in the fall. Come summer, you know, numbers were still holding steady. Everything was pretty good here. But then closer to the end of summer, I started getting worried about sending them back to school. So we chose to keep them home for school. I'm not homeschooling them per se, but they're doing a program that it's all online with a totally different school division. So unfortunately, our school division wasn't set up for online because it's just really tiny. So my kids have come to the office with me. So I go to the shop every single day, and the kids come with. They both have a setup there, computer desks, and they do their online school there. So that took up a lot of time. All of a sudden, any free time I had was used up helping them. And I mean, you're working full time at the shop anyways, but then you're being interrupted. So yeah, it was a challenge. It was definitely a juggling act for everyone. It was pretty tough. Then of course summer came. So we made it through the school year, and that was amazing. Then I was like, oh, I can podcast during the summer, but then they were here all the time and I was there. And then all my things were here, but I was there. So it just didn't work. And so this year, they are still doing online schooling. They are at the shop right now. I came home early from the shop because once they're done schoolwork, I let them play for about an hour or two of computer games. Yeah, like Roblox and Minecraft and that kind of thing. And I don't have to listen to them yelling at each other and playing and being annoying, and I get peace and quiet at home. So I came home early and I'm like, this is perfect because now I have some time to talk. So yeah, but that's pretty much it. That was my life update. It wasn't exciting. It's like day in, day out, right? It's go to work, do school, come home, eat, go to bed, go to work. So there's not a lot to do during a pandemic, apparently. So, but yeah, so then I'll just touch quickly on like my health updates. Everything is good. I am 100%. I've had some testing done back in April when I talked to you last April. I was still awaiting tests, and because they were trying to figure out what the heck. But I had also had to, stop driving for 6 months because in Canada, or at least in Saskatchewan, if you ever have to be defibrillated, you automatically lose your license for 6 months. Just safety thing. So that was pretty brutal on needing to get rides everywhere that I wanted to go. You kind of lose some of your independence. So that was kind of crappy. But I got my license back last September and was able to drive around. I can't believe that was last September. That was a year ago. I remember being on the phone with a lady like it was yesterday. That's crazy. But time flies. And yeah, so anyways, I'm still waiting for my MRI. With COVID and everything, I got bumped off the list by accident, or they lost my paperwork, or I don't know what happened. But I have not had my heart MRI yet. But all my other tests that I have gotten have come back completely clear. I did not have a heart attack. We believe, or we, like I have any say in it. My doctors, my cardiologists, and the team of everybody that is involved with that is pretty much come to the conclusion that I had a reaction, not really reaction, it was a side effect of a medication that I was on. So I'm no longer on that medication. I'm being monitored every 6 months. Oh, well, I'm being monitored 24/7 actually with my ICD. Every 6 months I go have that read. I get ECGs at the regular, and everything is perfectly fine. So I think I'm good to go. So hopefully we never have a repeat. So healthy, 100%, everything is good, kids are good, family's good, like everything has been really good. It's just been, I'm sure all of you understand, it's just been a very unprecedented and insane year. But it is what it is, and I can't complain too much. I can complain, but I mean, nobody's gonna listen to me anyways. But yeah, so I don't know where to start. I've got so much to talk about and so much to show you guys. I'm going to try to do something new this time. If you followed my podcast from before, I don't super love turning it into like all about my business. I like to talk about other things, but I do have a business. It is part of my life. You will see stuff. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something. I think be a fairly regular thing. I'm going to do like a mid-knit minute, which is just, I'm going to take a few moments and talk about something specifically related to our shop, a new yarn, new color, something like that. And after that, it's like, obviously, it will be sprinkled here throughout because I'll be knitting with my yarn and things like that. But I will try to keep any like updates into that mid-knit minute. But yeah. So I guess I will start with knitting because that's what most of you are familiar with. And then if you're not interested in seeing the cross stitch and the sewing, then I will have that at the end, and you guys can just choose to end it if you want, if you're not interested in watching that. So let's start with what I'm wearing. I don't think I had this last time I talked to you guys. I don't even know if I had it started. I'll have to go back and look. But most of you will recognize the pattern. It's called the Zweig, and it's by Caitlin Hunter. So this version I did, sorry, I'm gonna already midnight cravings, but I did it with some of our yarn. The color here in the yoke is called Curtsy, which is just like a really beautifully soft, it's mostly undyed, that's the cream color, and then it's speckled with like green and blue and plum and mauve, I think. And then the green color is basil. So this was really super, super fun to knit. I absolutely enjoyed every minute of it. It had a bit of a tragic story. I knit this whole yoke and I did all the way to here and right to where I was to split off the sleeves. And I don't know why I decided, you know what, I'm going to try it on. And it was screaming, like I couldn't get it on. And then I was worried I couldn't get it off. I thought I was going to lose all my stitches. So I was like, what did I do? So I went looking because my stitch count was 60 stitches out. That's why I tried it on. And I was like, why is it so out? Like one or two, yes, sometimes, but it's like all my lace repeats had worked. So I was like, well, that's weird because if you're one or two stitches out, usually your lace repeat, your last one, you're fudging all the time. And so I was like, I don't know. So I went back through the instructions and I realized I missed a increase row up here before the lace where you're supposed to like knit X amount and then do an increase 60 times. Like that increase row had 60 increases. So it wasn't like, you know, I could fudge it by adding one or two stitches down here. So I pulled back literally this whole section from here to the yoke, like the beginning of the yoke, just after the short rows, because the back has short rows to bring up the back of the neck. And yeah, so I got to knit this part twice. Good thing I like knitting lace. Because it was, I felt so sick when I realized what I had done. And I think I posted it on my Instagram of me like throwing my ball of yarn and my knitting down on the ground. I was so disgusted. It went in timeout just for a couple of days because I was like, no, I really want this project. And I did love knitting the lace. So I'm like, okay, well, at least it wasn't the whole stockinette body, which is just torture. At least when you're knitting lace, it's interesting and it's changing all the time. So I picked it back up and I re-knit the lace and I'm super happy with how it turned out. I really love this sweater. I don't know if I stand up, if that's going to show better. I'm not sure. We'll see. But yeah, so it's just this really nice, it's drapey and loose. It's not too tight. The stitches here are different than what she calls for in her pattern. She does like a cable crossover or something or other. And the way I was doing it, I think with my gauge, I kept getting a little hole in the center because it's almost like it's a butterfly. So the stitches pull away from each other and I kept getting a hole and I didn't like that. And I was looking at other people's projects and they weren't necessarily getting that. And I liked the look of the ones that weren't, but I couldn't get mine to knot. So I was like, forget it. So I did like a little knot stitch. And this stitch in particular, here, I'll just zoom in. This little stitch here is actually, I borrowed it from the Carson sweater by Pip and Pin, because I've done that. And she has like a star stitch up on the shoulders in that pattern. So I knew I liked that little star stitch. So I just incorporated it into wherever the pattern had called for that little cable, I just put this little star stitch and I was really happy with it. In the end, I will say that when I was knitting the first like 3 or 4 inches and I had about 4 of these little rows in, I was worried that I was going to look a little bit like a dill pickle, you know, like how the dill pickles have the warts, and because this is dark green, and I was like, am I going to just look like a gigantic pickle walking around? My friends assured me it didn't look like a pickle, but I don't know. They may have just been like being nice. I don't know, but I'm just going to pretend that I don't look like a pickle, and if anybody thinks I do, well, they can keep that opinion to themselves. But that's what, yeah, so this is kind of like, I don't even remember when I finished it, in the spring maybe? I think in the spring or midwinter. I don't know. I'm going without notes here today. Most of the things I don't remember what they're called. And yeah, so we're gonna pretend. We're gonna do some research together. If I find Like I always do, if I find the information afterwards, like if I'm showing a pattern or something and I don't know the name of it, I will do some research and I will put it at the bottom here of the screen. And hopefully I'll try to get better at doing my information in my descriptions too, so you don't have to go back and forth in the video if there was something that I said and talked about and you want to know what it is. I will try to put it in the descriptions, like show notes kind of idea. But yeah, so that was my last, no, that wasn't my last FO, but that's the one I was going to show you right now. And I did do a couple others. I've done a lot of knitting in the last year and a half. I don't remember everything that there was, but I wanted to show this one. Nice hat. And this is done in Shoreline is the name of the colorway. And I don't know the pattern. Oh my goodness, you guys, I really don't. Storyline by Haley Sharping, I think. Pearls and Pepper, I think. But yeah, I just loved it because I love this. Her pattern called for stripes, but I just did it in a solid because I really loved how she did these details. Let's see. Come on. We're gonna fight with it. Focus it there. No. So irritating. But anyways, yes, I really love this texture, and I thought that just having a plainer yarn, it's not a solid, it's a variegated, but it's just really subtle. And I thought that held. I'm not gonna put it on because I'll mess up my hair. And it took me forever. It's like I don't have to do my hair anymore. So then when I do, it's like, ooh, don't do anything to mess it up. Don't go in the wind. Don't put on a hat. Okay, so there was that. And then this is the, you know what? I'm going to save this. I'm going to save this until mid-knit minute because it has more to do with that than anything else. So yeah. So I've got all of this. Can't even talk. I've always got a bunch of things on the needles. Like right now, I know I've got 2 sweaters on the needles. I've got a pair of socks. I've got a shawl. I've got a lot. And it's like, I can never decide what I want to knit. So I start all the things, but then I never finish any of the things. And then I want to start on more things because the things that I can't finish are boring now. So I am determined that I'm going to start knitting through some of my projects and get the whips off the needles because then I feel much better about myself. So I will show you a couple of the whips that I've got right now. Because I've got, oh my goodness, I've got hordes of them. I've got bags everywhere, but I'm just like, no, I'm going to settle down and only show them a couple things. Because, you know, it's like, you know, when your kids, when people come to visit your kids and they're like, have to show them all their things. Like, oh, this is my blanket, and this is my favorite teddy bear, and this is my drawing I did last week, and look at this random pair of scissors that I found. That's what I feel like when I get to podcast again. So I'm trying to be like, you know, not quite so hyper. So we're just going to show a couple of things today because I've got a lot of other things to share. So I decided against my better judgment to start a Scrappy Blanket. And I always said I wasn't going to do a Scrappy Blanket, but I come to determine that it's not the Scrappy Blanket I don't like. It's just that I like to have not a theme, but do you know what I mean? I don't like scrappy in the fact that it's not coherent and cohesive. What's the word I'm thinking of? But anyways, I like to have it at least color coordinating. There, we'll go with that. So I found a bunch of scraps or full balls even, just random stuff in my stash. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to just start working on it. So what I'm doing is I'm just making corner to corner squares, kind of like how you do a dishcloth. So you start here and then you do your increase every row until I get to 50 stitches. And then I do 2 plain stitches to create this second corner, or because this corner starts with 2 stitches. So this one will have 2 stitches because I'll knit 2 rows. And then when I get to 35 stitches, I'll change and I'll start doing that. So I have a few squares. So I've got this one, which I thought was really cute. I really like this color. Yeah, and it's just scraps, stuff from work that I've brought home or whatever. Like There's lots of stuff. This color here, right here, is Cake Pop. And then I've got 2 in this one. So I'm just kind of doing whatever. I'm not following a pattern. I'm not following any consistent, you know, rules. But yeah, so this is Daylily and this is Blowing Bubbles. And then this one I decided to stripe. So that one's kind of fun. So that's Larimar. Then just a plain Blowing Bubbles. And then a plain one with Daylily. And then this one is called Sherbet. And it's like yellow and orange together. So yeah, so like all together, they just create like just a little gentle. So blue is kind of the odd one out right now, but I'm hoping I'm gonna do a few more and just see if I like that color incorporated. And if not, I just won't bother making any more and I'll just do something. Make a small pillow or something or just tear it out. And then that one and this one. So yeah. So my plan is I'm just going to just attach them however, like they don't even have to, you know, won't necessarily all be this way. Some of them might be this way or whatever. Just going to join them however I feel like. And yeah, and then I also tried something new. So this I'm weaving in the end. I don't know if you can really see it, but I weave it as I go. At least when I'm joining the colors, like there's still going to be ends, obviously, that I'll have to trim off or weave in, but where I'm weaving in, where I'm joining a new yarn, I do that. And it's called the Weavin' Steven. It's by Stephen West. If you look up his video on YouTube, you'll find it. I just looked up Weavin' Steven and it popped up. I have seen also the Cozy Knitter, way back when she was doing a podcast with Amanda of Yarn Enabler. She had talked about doing her when she's joining a new color in her socks, how she joins. And it was pretty much that exact same technique that Stephen West does. And yeah, it's just a method of like flicking your yarn over your working yarn or under your working yarn. Anyways, you keep wrapping it as you're doing your stitches and it just kind of locks those stitches into place. So, and then I've got a new one started here, just a little guy. There's maybe 30 stitches on here. So I'm just doing them with some needles. It's a fingering weight blanket. I don't remember what needle size I'm using. It's probably about a 3.5. I don't know. I don't have a gauge around here and I'll have to dig for it, so I'm not going to. But yeah, I just grab some whatever size and I just keep it in the bag. And it's in this bag. I sewed this bag myself way back. I've probably showed it before. I really love it. It is the Finch Bucket pattern by Stitch Mischief. And yeah, I really like this bag. It's all full of some of my scraps. I'm not using all of these, like this blue back there. I'm not going to be using, I've been lazy and I haven't cleaned this bag out. I just started tossing more stuff in. So, but this bag is massive. Like, look, it's like upper body size. So it's an awesome bag. I've made a couple of them. Actually, my next project is in one as well. This one. I love this fabric. I found it at the local fabric store, and I can't remember who it's by. I'm not even going to venture a guess because I can't remember. I can visualize the selvage edge, but I can't remember. Anyways, so housing in this bag is housing, boy, forget how to talk, a sweater. I'm trying to find it without making a huge mess and dropping stitches, but I'm not having success here. Okay, here we go. I don't remember what's the front, and I don't remember what's the back. I don't even know if there's a difference, actually. I think there is. I think there's short rows. I don't know. I should have marked this. I should have prepared, but I know what, I just this morning it was a quieter day at work and I caught everything up and I was like, you know what, I'm going to run home and podcast. So like there's been zero thought onto onto today, so I was like, I'm sorry. Anyways, here it is. This is the Firenze, Firenze. Yeah, it's Italian, I believe, Firenze or something like that. But anyways, it's this beautiful, oh my goodness, I love that. Beautiful, beautiful sweater pattern. It's going to have, I'm working on the sleeves now. The sleeves are like 3/4, and they do have this pattern on the outside of it. So I have started the patterning on the sleeve. You can see the tiniest bit of the cables starting here. And this gorgeous green is called Chartreuse by Stitch Mischief. So this is her Heritage DK base, and it is, so it's non-superwash, it's untreated merino wool, but it is literally the softest, squishiest stuff I've ever, it's as soft as superwash merino. It is not scratchy, it's not itchy, it's amazing. So I think I got 6 balls of this, and I'm going to have enough. I was a little worried while I was doing the body that I was going to run out, but and the body looked short, but when I tried it on, it was the right length. And I'm gonna block it. Like, I'm gonna definitely make sure that when I finish it, I pin it out on the blocking boards and give the body a good stretch, because I like it a little bit longer. I have a long torso, so I always have to add length. I think she said 13 inches, and I think 13 inches before you split, or like not split, 13 inches from the underarm before you do the ribbing. And I think I gave myself an extra 1 or 2 inches there. I can't remember now. I really need to write notes down, but I haven't been very good at keeping up to date with my Ravelry. I used to be really good at keeping up to date with it and putting all that information in, but I've done quite a few projects that I haven't, and then I forget, and then I podcast and I have no information for you guys. So sorry. But that one I did. I really remember that one. I don't remember the maker. So as always, I will have probably already put the information down below for you to look at. But yeah, gorgeous. Very well written pattern. So I highly recommend it if you're looking for a new sweater pattern. That one, it was an easy knit. I'm trying to remember if I had to, I printed the pattern, and I think it was definitely charted, but the charts I had to like flip back and forth for. So read the instructions and then go and find the charts, just to, yeah. Anyway, so it was a little bit of figuring and like flipping back and forth and stuff like that, but it wasn't a difficult pattern to follow. And the stitches in the yoke, like with the cables, they weren't complicated. They were like 2/1 or 1/2s, or they weren't massively complicated cables. So it's not a difficult pattern. That's what I'm trying to say. And I think that's pretty much it for knitting for today. Like I said, I have tons, but it's one of those things like when you've been gone for a year and a half, where do you start? So I'm just gonna, yeah, we're just gonna touch on like what I've actually been actively touching in the last few weeks. So that was that. So I'm going to just move into some Midnight Cravings information, and then you guys, for any of those of you that aren't interested in listening anymore to the stitching stuff, then that will be your end, but I hope you'll stick around. So I wanted to show you guys new yarn. So if you follow us on Instagram, you'll have seen that we recently came out with a whole brand new yarn line, and we called it Rustic Twist. So let me grab them here. This base, you guys, I can't even. It's amazing. Amazing. So this is, okay, so this isn't all of them. We have 6 colors. I'm out of the brass, but I have a project. So I will show you the brass key. Is that what it's called? I think so. We name them all, and then I forget all the names immediately. But this is the base here. So I'll just let you look at it. Ah, it's so good. So we called it Rustic Twist because if you can see that subtle barber poling in there, it's almost like a marled yarn. So this base is awesome. Okay, so it is like a heavy DK light worsted weight, but the special part of it is the twist of it. So 2 plies, it's a 3-ply yarn, but 2 of the plies are untreated merino. So they're non-superwash, they will felt in the wash, and 1 ply is superwash. So the superwash ply takes the dye darker than the non-superwash. And that's what gives you that beautiful barber poling. So this yarn too, like being untreated, you think, oh, it's going to be really scratchy. It is not scratchy. It's like, it definitely has some tooth to it, or some, like, you can tell it's not superwash, but it is not itchy. It was definitely next to skin soft. It has a really like plump squish. Yeah, we launched this in August, I believe, and mid-August. So we've only had it for about a month, and it's just awesome. So this base is only available on 6 colors, like I said. So this one is called Boarding Pass, and it's this beautiful brick red. This one is Pocket Watch. Which one's this? Steam Trunk, I think. Passport. Then we have an undyed one, which is called Vanilla. So yeah, we always have vanilla. All our bases, we offer that as vanilla. It's undyed. And then this color is called Brass Key. So like I said, I don't have a skein of Brass Key. It's all sold out right now, and I haven't had a chance to re-dye it. So this is our sample. I just finished it last night. So I have not woven in the ends, but you know, that's okay. The bulk of the knitting is done. I do not have a clue what pattern this is. I will try to find it. I went looking last night on Ravelry and I could not find this pattern. I have no idea where I found it. I know it was on Ravelry, but I started, like, looked up like worsted weight, and I looked up cables, and I did all my magic tricks of trying to figure out what this pattern was, and I can't figure it out. So I have to go digging a little harder so I can tell you guys what this cowl pattern is, but isn't it amazing? It looks so good. I love how this yarn cables. It just shows off. The definition is amazing. Oh, it's so good. Love it. So that's these. So I'm like really trying to restrain myself from casting on a sweater with these, but okay, here. So you can kind of pretend like this is a skein. Boop, 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 there. That's them together. Oh, love it. So that's our new Rustic Twist. So it's a really awesome base for fall and winter. Yeah, definitely going to be casting on a few more things with this shortly. And the reason also too is it only does come in the 6 colors for now anyways, because superwash or untreated merino does dye quite a bit differently than superwash. Yeah, like I was saying before, you get that double, like that marl, because the 1 ply is superwash and it does take the dye more vibrantly. So if you were ever to buy like one of our colors on a full-on superwash and the same color on a non-superwash, they would be very different color. Not color, very different like depth of shade. So one would be a lot more muted. The untreated would be more muted. So we haven't had a chance to really like test out all of our popular colors on this base. When we launched it, we really wanted to have a curated collection of colors that we just really loved. So these colors aren't available in our regular lineup right now either. That said, if you like one of these colors, but you don't want it on Rustic Twist, we can dye it for you. So, but we cannot dye another color on this base. We haven't had a chance to test it out, make sure it doesn't bleed, all that kind of stuff. So Rustic Twist is only available in the 6 colors, but you can have those colors on the other bases if you wish. So that is my disclaimer. So the last one I want to show you is right there. So we released today. I haven't even put it on Instagram. Like we just getting it put up on the website this afternoon. Is a brand new color called Hayride. And it is a gorgeous autumnal color. It is a golden brown. So when the inspiration was actually like a camel trench coat. So you know those like beautiful long, like fuzzy camel coats that they come out with this time of year that everybody wears, like trench coats and stuff, which is beautiful. That's what color this is. We've named this color Hayride because it just reminds us of that. Because camel coat, it was like trying to say that was annoying. So we renamed it. So it's Hayride. And which is perfect because we're releasing it in fall and everybody like thinking about fall things like pumpkin spice lattes and hay rides and apple picking and all the good things. So that's this new one. And I brought a few colors that I thought looked really nice with it. So I don't know if I should just grab them all. It's probably easier than me turning all the time. So give me 1 second. Grab them. It's not awkward to put them there. But yeah. Oh my goodness, Tara and I had so much fun. So this is just like a few. Basically, it matches everything, which is it's one of these magic yarns that goes with literally everything. So these are just, yeah, 7. We had to like restrain ourselves. Okay, so this is it with pesto, which I love. I'm going to say that for every single one, so just prepare yourself. But like pesto has these gorgeous, gorgeous speckles of greens and that beautiful honey mustard color, and it was kind of a brown. So anyways, it just picks up that, and I think it would be a stunning set. So that's pesto. Let's just put them back as we talk about them. And then I really was happy with how it looked with this one. So this one here, this variegated speckle is called Whiskers, which is a beautiful neutral brown with this golden, it's got that golden color in there, and together I thought they just were stunning. So really, really loving that combo. So that's Hayride and Whiskers. And then also was really thrilled with this one. So Gilbert Blythe has been in our list for ages. You guys know it's part of our Kindred Spirits collection. My goodness, these are all falling off my lap. But we didn't have a really great brown that went with Gilbert, and now we do. So that's that there. And I really love how that brown, like it matches so nicely with the brown that's in there, even though they're not the same, but they just, I love it. So that one's Gilbert Blythe. Oh, Gilbert Blythe. So good. Okay, and then this one is an autumn color that we came out with last year, which I dye it all the time, so apparently you guys love it too. This is foliage, sorry, I should say. So that's foliage with Hayride. And it's like this one is obviously like a very purple stain, but it does have those blips of that beautiful golden color in there. And so it picks up really nicely with that Hayride color. There, you can see it really well there. Yeah, so that's foliage. So I say, it's like it literally goes with everything. So that's some of our favorite variegateds that work with it. A spiced latte worked really nicely with it as well, but I didn't bring that one. But everything works with spiced latte, so that was no surprise. And then these are some of our favorites. They're all blue, but these were some of our favorite pairings of other tonals. Was Broken Slate. Oh, hey, speaking of, Broken Slate is Gilbert's match. Like I said, if you followed us for any length of time, you know when we did the Kindred Spirits, we also did a matching thing. So Broken Slate is Gilbert's tonal pairing, match, coordinate. Anyways, those three look really awesome together. Look at that. Well, that was accidental. Happy accidents. Boop. There we go. Yeah, okay, so those two look amazing together. So that's Broken Slate and Hayride, and that Gilbert. And then parasol for like a soft version. Really like that. That's amazingly beautiful too. And also Pacific Rim, which is another favorite blue. Oh, sorry, my computer keeps turning off. I have to keep moving. Come on. Okay, that was weird. My computer went to sleep and then I hit the space bar to wake it up and I accidentally, that apparently stops my video software and then I had to wait because it was buffering and it was like, yeah, it's a whole big thing. So, sorry. Let's start again. I don't know where I was, but this is Pacific Rim with Hayride and it's awesome too. Yeah, boy, the coloring is really good today. So yeah, I really love these and I love these together. Look how good that is. Boop. Wouldn't that make a really awesome something or other? Add one more color with it and it would be a really good Steve and West mystery knit along. You could pop that one in there. Boop. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Never ending excitement. So yeah, new color. So that was really awesome. Really excited about that particular color. What else can I say about it? Not much. But yeah, guys, I am so out of practice. I don't even know how to go from one point to the other. It's just like super awkward. I'm really sorry. This is probably painful to watch, but but I'll get there. I'll get better. It's been a while. So anyways, more coffee. Yeah, so I guess that's it for knitting today. I don't have a whole lot. I do have a sock to show you. I was going to ask your guys' opinion and then I forgot it. So it's somewhere. It's probably over in the kitchen, like when I drop my bag from coming home from work, but oh well, I'll show it another day. So let's get into some stitching. I have picked up cross stitch again. Actually, okay, pretty much all my crafting time in the last couple of months has been dedicated to cross stitch. I don't know, I think I was feeling a little burnt out from knitting. Like I work with knitting or yarn all day, which is amazing. It's super fun and I like, don't get me wrong. It's like, but you're dyeing yarn and you're drying yarn and you're banding yarn and you're twisting yarn and you're doing all the things with yarn. It's like sometimes when you come home, it's just like, if I have to see more yarn, I'm going to scream. So I've picked up my cross stitch again. So I've actually cross stitched for forever. I learned when I was about 9 or 10 and I did a couple like little small projects, you know, like those are the ones that come in the tiny little kits or whatever. It comes with your needle and your floss already pre-done and your chart and everything. So I've done a couple of those. And then I really picked it up in my teen years and I've done a couple of pretty big projects. I'll have to show them another day. One of them anyways. I don't have all of them, but over the years I've done quite a few. Like I've done a birth sampler for my niece, and then like an actual birth sampler with like her name and everything on it. And then both my niece and nephew, like Tara's kids, they got a little well, fairly big. It was, you know, really cute. I'm gonna ask to borrow those one day and I'll show you guys. Yeah, like a teddy bear walking in the woods for the one boy. I mean, when you're a baby, that's really adorable. He doesn't so appreciate it as much now as 17-year-old, so it's now in my sister's office, but that's okay. But anyways, I made that for him, and then I made a adorable teddy bear standing in like a teal sweater for my niece. And yeah, so anyways, I've done quite a few projects. They're always for other people, but I've done quite a few. And but I've never, unless they were for someone and specifically for something, I've very rarely finished them. And I think a lot of it was, they just weren't things that I could see hanging in my house. There wasn't a huge variety of cross stitch, like modern, or I don't know what the word is, but it's just, they just weren't necessarily my style. I stitched them because they were fun and I really enjoyed the hobby and the craft of it, but I didn't really love it for myself and putting in my own home. So I kind of put cross stitch away for probably 10, 15 years. Like I would see it in my stash and stuff, and I never got rid of my my DMC and my fabrics and things. They just got put in a tub and in my closet, and they got forgot about. But in the last little bit, I've been looking, and there's been so many fun patterns on Etsy and things, and then I've started seeing floss tubes popping up on Instagram. Nope, YouTube. Started seeing all these floss tubes on YouTube, so I started watching them. So a floss tube, for those of you who are maybe knitters and not cross stitchers, a floss tube is like a cross stitching podcast, just like this is a knitting podcast. It's dedicated, and they call them floss tubes. I don't know where that started, why that is, but that's what they're called. So I've started watching a few. I started watching Cross Stitching with the Housewives, I think. It's Priscilla and I should know her name. I've watched a bazillion of them, but now I forget. I'm Priscilla and Chelsea. I don't know. Oh my goodness, that's terrible. Maybe I should cut that out because that's really embarrassing. Anyways, I started watching Stitching with the Housewives and I really enjoyed those. And then of course one thing leads to another, and you click on like, oh, recommended for you. And so I've been watching quite a few. Ones I really, really enjoy are Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch. She's hilarious and adorable, and she laughs and smiles like through the whole thing, and she's super cute. Really enjoy her podcast, her Floss Tubes. I think she comes out with them every Sunday. So it's like a Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. I'm like, okay, like, you know, waiting. No pressure, Liz, if you're watching. But, you know, I do wait for those. I do enjoy those. And another one that I've just, well, I've binge watched all of them. I think she's got 13 episodes, is Evelyn Across the Pond. She's an American living in Britain, and I really like her podcast. And the reason I think I like their podcast is like, A, they're really personable, they're hilarious. I really enjoy watching them, but they have some really fun cross stitch projects that are more like my kind of style, which I don't really have a cross stitch style. I just like decor wise, I guess I should say. So yeah, so I just like, and of course when you're watching the podcasts and the floss tubes and stuff like that, you start like, oh, I really want to do that. So I started looking, and I found some stitches that or some projects that I wanted to do, and now I just can't like put it down. So actually one of them, speaking of things that aren't my style, but I wanted to stitch it, I will show you. I'll start. I've got my basket. I've got my basket of stuff. Look at that. I'm like a real floss tuber. I've got project bags and I've got multiple whips. Although technically these aren't all mine. I'll talk about that. But yeah, so one of the projects that I've started, and I've been working on it pretty well. I've picked up two others. Okay, cross stitching projects are kind of like knitting whips. Like you need to have multiples because you just don't know what you're going to feel like working on. Whereas I used to be very monogamous with my cross stitch. Now I've got 3, and I find that stressful enough. So I'm not going to, some of these floss tubers have like 50 something cross stitches, and they've got like 3 stitches in there, and they're like, oh yeah, it's a start. And I'm like, whoa, that's scary. That's too scary for me. Forget it. But this is one of the ones that I've been working on. So it's full coverage. And I went hunting everywhere for the packaging for this because I know I have it and I can't find it. So I can't tell you anything about it. There is like a famous artist that said not margarine. I don't know. I can't remember. She's like she paints these beautiful birds and animals, and I've loved her style for a long time, but I didn't realize. And when I found out she did cross stitch kits, I bought one. And I don't really super love birds, but I love this. Boy, that looks really good. Not to toot my own horn, but you know, when you're cross stitching or you're doing something close up, you don't notice it, but boy, holding it up on the screen, it's like, wow, those flowers are awesome. I'm not done yet. I got lots to go. I got lots of filling in spaces, but this whole part here with the birds and everything, that's done. Now I just have all the edging with it's called Wisteria something. Anyways, I don't know what the fabric is. So when I watch floss tubes, they're all really good. They know what their fabric is and they know what their fancy flosses are called and they know all the things, like what needle size they're using. I have no idea. I didn't know floss tubes were a thing, so I didn't pay any attention to that. But yeah, it's an even weave fabric. I don't know. I think it's a 16 count. I mean, I do know stuff about fabric because I have cross stitched for a long time. Like I know I used to do a lot of like linen, cross stitching on like a 36 count linen, 32 count linen, I mean, and all that. But this came in the kit, so it didn't actually have any of that information. It just like it gives you it pre-cut and it said it was an even weave. I really wish I knew what this was because I love stitching on it. Like it's so soft and it's drapey, but it's easy to stitch through and I love it. And I really, really wish I knew what it was, but the kit didn't tell me. It just said that it was an even weave 16 count or whatever it was. I can't remember. Shoot, I just dropped a thread. I had a thread in my hand and I dropped it and it was for this. So now I'll probably run out of that color because that's awesome. I'll find it later. But yeah, so there's that one. So that's the first one I've been working on. I have another one started as well, but I can't show that one because it's going to be a gift and I just don't want the person finding out. Oh, there's my thread. Found it. Put that with it before I end up losing it again. So that would be bad. And then so the other stitching I'm doing is out of this book. So one thing when I started looking up for cross stitches again, I very quickly found a designer called, her name is Emma Condren, and she has a shop on Etsy called Stitchrovia. Love her stuff. She's like typography, which I love typography, and she just has these most beautiful designs, and I was very much drawn to her particular style. And then she came out with a book. She actually has 2 books, but I just got this one, and I love like every single pattern. It's called Cross Stitch for the Soul, and it's just full of beautiful quotes and really pretty designs. So let's see. Here's the pages. You can't really see, but oh yeah, like it's just gorgeous. Let's see these, like what that. Anyways, you can't really see all of them, but yeah, beautiful. Let's see here. Find which ones are my favorite in here. Okay, so this one's be not afraid of going slowly, be afraid only of standing still. I love it. It's beautiful. I want to do this one. And I like the colors are amazing. And oh, this one, Bloom Where You're Planted. My friend Jade from Stitch Mischief is doing this one, and it's turning out gorgeous. And what else is there? My one daughter really wants this. I asked her why. It's because blue, and blue is her favorite color. But oh, sorry. A smooth sea never made a skillful sailor. Yeah, just beautiful. Anyways, I'm gonna just say that about every pattern. Anyways, the cross stitch that I'm doing is this one for my daughter. My oldest daughter is 13. This is her favorite quote. She's come across it a few times, and she's also drawn it on like she's painted it on a board for herself for her room. So when I saw it, you can only buy this, you can only get this chart in this book. So I bought the whole book specifically for this particular chart. When it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars. So I love that quote. I've heard it a couple of times and I thought it was a beautiful quote. And because it's her favorite, I bought the book and I have started that. Well, okay, I started in early August and I'm almost done. It's an addicting stitch. So it's all wrinkled. I did not take the time to iron today. I don't take the time to iron anything ever. So this is going to be a recurring theme. I didn't iron, just so you know. And this is what I've got. When it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for. And then a bloop. So stars obviously is the last thing. So I just have to do the word stars and then another like right here. See how this side's got this little border? I need the border, and then there'll be some more scrolly work like back stitching, like what's in here. There's some more of that. So I've just like finished it as I went down. I decided to do the back stitching as I went so that when I put my last stitch in, it's done. I don't have to like then go back and do all the back stitching. And it really, like I love the back stitching around the letters and stuff like that. It really made them pop and gives them that 3D look, and the fading. Oh yeah, so speaking of fading, I changed the rainbow. So, okay, I don't really want to show you the pattern, so I'll just show you the okay, right here where it says rainbows. Let's see if it'll focus. Come on. Work with me here. Okay, there you go. They're they're separated colors. Each stripe of the rainbow is its own color. So I went through my cross-stitch flosses and stuff like that, and my daughter was helping me, and I told her what number I needed for the red, and she pulled them for me, or I pulled them, I don't know. I'll blame her. So then when I finally got to the red, I realized it was the wrong number. I had the one lighter, so I needed number 351, and she had given me, I had put in 352. So it's just the shade lighter. But next to the orange that it was going to be called for, it was too close to the orange because it was kind of like a coral, and I didn't like it. So I happened to have 350 in my stash. So I needed 351. I had 350 and 352 in my stash, did not have 351. So I was like, well, shoot, because I live an hour away from anywhere that sells DMC, and I was happily stitching away, and I wanted to keep working on it, and red was the next color because I'm working on a 32 count linen. If I counted down and I messed up a stitch, you know, like then everything is off and it's hard, and I didn't feel like ripping things out because those stitches are really close together and it's easy to make a mistake. In fact, there are a couple of mistakes, but you can't see them. I'm not going to point them out. So I'm like, you know what? I am going to hold number 350 and 352 together, and it'll marl them. And I've done that before. Like, it's just a way in cross stitch that you can blend your threads to like kind of make your own custom color. So I did that. So yeah, you can kind of see there. I blended 350 and 351. But then I thought, oh, well, that looked really nice. So then I took I blended 350 and 352. So then I took 352 and blended it with the first orange color. And then I took the first orange and I blended it with the second orange. And then so I faded the rainbow. So each of the colors feeds into the next instead of it being solid stripes. They kind of fade. And I really liked that. I thought that was really cool. So, and my daughter really loves it. She loves things like fade and gradiate and stuff like that. So yeah, that's my cross stitch. I'm really happy with it. After the podcast and stuff goes up today, I will be pulling this out again and working on the bottom. So I do have quite, like, it looks like I'm almost done, but it will be a few, like it's quite a bit of stitching yet. The letters, they're quite big, and you can't tell, but there are at least 3 colors. It might even be 4 colors, shades of purple in the word stars itself. Then I've got all those, the bigger stars, and then there's back stitch stars. There's little guys, you can kind of see them. So, and then the border. So yeah, it will take me a good couple of days, good few hours. This weekend, I'll be able to put a big chunk of time into it and really get it mostly completed. And I do want to get it done fairly soon because I've got lots of other things that I want to do. Because, you know, now I've got all the things. But I'm also going to be starting a new knitting project. I've got another sweater. I'm going to be test knitting a sweater. And my yarn will be dry. I dyed it yesterday, so my yarn will be dry by Monday. And then I can, if the test knit's ready to go, then I can cast on then. And if not, I can be swatching and stuff. So, and then because it's a test knit, you're on a time crunch. So the majority of my stitching time will be be dedicated to knitting again. So that's my projects. Just the two. I've got, like I said, I have 2 more on the go, but I can't show them. So I will show you, I guess that's it for stitching. I can show you what my family is working on. We all stitch, actually. I taught my husband quite a while ago, a couple years ago, a year ago or something, like just so he had a hobby that wasn't just like looking at his phone. He's done a couple small projects. Maybe I'll have him come on one day and he can show off the projects that he's been working on. But he's got a big one that he's been working on for probably over a year now. I just should have checked and seen. Again, I have no idea. Well, actually, does he have the information in here? It's volcanoes, Hawaiian volcanoes is the name of the pattern. But yeah, anyways. Okay, so anybody who does cross stitching, does podcasts, you're probably all going to die. But like, look. Okay, well, I can't really show you the pattern because that's, I mean, whatever. Okay, look at how beat up. You can't see individual stitches, so you can't really see. But like, look how beat up this pattern is. Like, he does not take it. I mean, it was just printed from computer paper on, like, we laser cut it. But it's like, it's got fold marks and it's got like his missing stitches because it's, yeah, he's got this thing all beat up. And then I was so nice. What a good wife I am. I cut him this beautiful piece of cloth. It's a 14 count Aida. To be fair, I don't like stitching on Aida, but because Brad was a new stitcher, I got him going on the Aida, and he likes it just fine. And he uses a hoop. Oh yeah, so this is his. There's more here. This is big. The whole circle is about 12 inches across. Diameter? Is that what? I don't know. Anyways, it's about 12 inches. But yeah, he's doing an amazing job. Look how good that is. So make sure all his stitches are going one direction. Like, he really, really enjoys doing this. He's filling in now big sections, so he finds it kind of boring. So he went on Etsy probably a couple weeks ago now and found some new like smaller stitches so he can get some like finishes. I just have to cut the fabric for him. And then I got him this cute little needle minder. Don't have a clue who I got it through. Outlaw Stitches, maybe. She's a Canadian company. Put the information down below. It says Clever Girl. So my husband loves Jurassic Park, so I had to get him that. So yeah, and so like this cross stitch here, this is like the one of the national parks in Hawaii. So the Etsy designer has a whole bunch of like circular patterns that are all have to do with the national parks of the US. So he just thought this one was awesome. We've never been to Hawaii. We live in Canada, and so like it means nothing to us. You know, like we're not stitching all the national parks because, you know, we visited them or anything. He just really liked the design. But anyways, what I was going to say about my husband is I cut him this nice square piece of fabric, and then he had it in a bigger hoop, but we couldn't fit it in the bag. I'll show you guys the bags that I sewed, but we couldn't fit it in the bag. So he cut the fabric. He just hacked it. No, look it. The corner is missing. And this corner is missing, but not at the same rate as this corner is missing. Oh, this one too. Oh, this one isn't. He didn't cut this corner, but he hacked off the corners and part of the side. I'm like, I had given him like a good 2.5 inch margin because, you know, when you're going to frame this, you're going to need to have that. No, he just put it in his hoop and he was like, these edges are annoying. Hack, hack, hack. I'm like, oh! So we will see how it goes when it goes to finishing this. It might be a hoop finish. I've never finished anything, so we'll see. So anyways, I was really not impressed with him, but I'm like, whatever, we'll work with it. It's like after putting this much work into it, if I can't get it framed or something like that, I'm going to be choked. But anyways, so it lives in his cross stitch bag. So I've actually made him another bag, but it was too small. I couldn't fit anything because I like don't know how to measure properly. But I made a project bag for him. So this was from the, like I said, before I was watching Flosstube of Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch, and she had in one of her podcasts, she started sewing these little bags, and she did a tutorial on how to sew them. And so I've always wanted to, I've always since for the last 6 months, wanted one of these bags, because I'm like, I was putting our cross stitch projects just in the drawer right here, and that's fine. At least they were out of the way, but everybody's stuff was getting mixed up with everybody else's stuff. So then I started putting them in like my bags that I have for knitting project bags, which is fine too, but knitting bags all have like a gusseted bottom. Here, I'll grab one. Like they have a gusseted bottom, which is fine, except for then everything kind of falls to the bottom and everything has to get scrunched up. I wanted something that the pieces could lay somewhat flat and then it could fit in the drawer nicely. So Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch had the tutorial, and she was really clear on how to do it. Like, I am not an inexperienced sewist. I've made project bags in the past, and I've made a skirt now. It's not done very well, but I have made a skirt, so I do know how to run a sewing machine. But you know, this has like vinyl, and so I was a little bit intimidated, and it's, yeah, it was super easy. I mean, I really like the tutorial. So I just made this. It was quick. Her tutorial calls for you to use a quilt batting inside. I didn't have any quilt batting and I was impatient. So I just put like Pellon SF101, which is just like a standard thin, the words, interfacing, like an iron-on interfacing. So it's thin. This, okay, let me take all the junk out of here. Hers are more like plush and quilty. Mine are thin, like they're just drapey and smushy. Like they're not sturdy. They're not sturdy at all. But they hold the stuff and they work just fine. And I just dropped everything on the floor. But yeah, I really, really like having these in these little bags, because everything goes in, like everything. This pattern can go in there and his stitches, and he likes to use this stuff. It's called Thread Heaven. This brand is gone now, but there's other, it's like a thread conditioner. You just run your thread through it, and then it keeps your thread from like fraying and building up the static charge and all the things. I don't know if it really does any difference, but apparently, well, he likes it. So you can't get this anymore. And then he found this other one called like So Easy or something. I can't remember, but it's like a beeswax base, and it had scents, and they smelled really good, but he hated them. He didn't like how they made his thread feel. Yeah, I can't remember. We tossed them. I used them. Oh my goodness, that's a story for another day. I have a Mirabilia started. And if you're a cross stitcher and you know who Mirabilia, like those patterns are intense, and I have like this much done, and stupidly I used that beeswax stuff on the white of her dress, and so many of the stitches are like stained yellow because it discolored my thread, and I have to start again. Like, I have to frog like all of it. So yeah, that's disappointing, but that's a story for another day, even though I've just told it. I will tell you more about it. I will rant about it another time. So anyways, so my two daughters have also picked up cross stitching. Oh, hey, I'll show you my other bag first. Mine is in this bag. So I made a bag for myself. I did a very bad job. The bag I did for Brad was the first one I did, and I did an awesome job. The mitered corners look good. The zipper looks good. Everything looked good. Then I did two for my girls, and they looked awesome. So then I did one for myself, and it looks like crap. I messed up the mitered corners. I messed up the sides. I missed sewing the zipper, so I had to like redo it. I had to pull it all out. It was a hot mess. I don't know. It's like you'd think that by the fourth one you're getting better, but no, this was the worst of all of them. But whatever. I love it. So I did like a cute little yellow print on the inside. And then this is actually, so I used a panel. I bought fabric 100 years ago, and they were panels, and then I didn't know what to do with them, but they were so cute that I had to take them. So buy them. I didn't take them. I bought them. And yeah, but they've just been sitting in my stash forever. And then I figured out, I measured my panel and I measured the picture and I was like, it is perfect for this. So these are kind of the sides. That's why I've got like random colors on the front of my bag. This was a section above the panel that I cut out and used. This was just side of the panel that didn't get hidden when I did the mitered sides, mitered corners quilt binding. But this is the back. Oh my goodness. Look how cute. Remember how I said I don't really like birds, but I'm doing a bird cross stitch. Now I have a bird cross stitch bag. I don't really like birds. I don't hate birds, but I don't love birds. But he was so cute. Come on. Like, look at him. Look at his face. So cute. I think what it is I love watercolor, and he's watercolored. So anyways, this is my bag. It makes me so happy. I'm not a yellow person either, but yellow worked best with it, and it's cute, and I really love it because he's a yellow bird. Oh, I mean, you can see that. So, never mind. Okay, next. So yes, my two daughters, they both stitch. One of them is Laura, my younger, is 10, and my older daughter, Evelyn, is 13. I have to keep thinking about it. She's actually almost 14, but we're not going to talk about that. Yeah, so I made them both bags as well. So this is one for Evelyn. This material she picked out herself, oh, ages ago. I was going to make her a mask. I never made her a mask. Just, yeah. Yeah, I didn't make her a mask, so I made her a bag instead, and she loves it. So this is a Tula pink fabric. I know nothing else about it, but I love it, and I bought it at a local quilt shop. And then I just used some Kona, like a purple lilac-y Kona color on the inside. So she is stitching on a little jar. She doesn't really have that much done. Okay, so these bags, they're also from, it's the same tutorial Liz had done, the Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch, but I changed the dimensions. Once I sewed Brad's, and I studied the measurements and I figured out how the bag gets put together, I realized I can change whatever measurements I want as long as the back one is always an inch bigger on all sides, because then it becomes the quilt binding, or the binding, yeah, whatever. So then I could just make whatever sizes I wanted. So I was trying to make them 10 by 10 pouches, but like I said, I'm not very measurement inclined. And I cut this one wrong. I cut this one at 9.5 inches. And then I had to do the fold over, so it's actually a little bit smaller. So we had to really, like, her pattern does fit in there, or not her pattern, her fabric does fit, but it's, you gotta shove it underneath the zipper thing, and anyways, whatever. So she is doing a pattern. Does she have the information here? It's called Dragons by Irina Konoplich. I will put her information down below. She was an Etsy seller. She's got lots of these. It's a jar. I'm not going to show. I'll pull the picture and I'll put it in. I don't even know how to do that, but I will put a picture in somewhere so you can see the pattern that she's working on. And she doesn't have too much done, but can you see that? She's got the whole outside of the jar done, and she started on the inside now. So this will have a cork, boop, that'll pop out the top, and then inside is filled with a really beautiful pattern. It almost looks like a, it was two dragons that are kind of spinning, and they're really pretty. And they look like, oh, brain. You know the dragons. How to Train Your Dragon. The black one and the white one. I know who they are, but I can't remember. As soon as I finish this podcast, I will be like, oh, duh. It's like, what's his name and what's her name? Anyways, from How to Train Your Dragon. And so both my girls love that show. So she really liked it. the Night Fury and the Light Fury. And I know they have names, but I can't remember. Whatever. I'll think of it later. So that's hers. And then my youngest daughter, she has been doing some fairly simple stitches, like with lots of the same color. And she was really bored with that because it's just like you're stitching the same color over and over and over and over again. So she decided she wanted a more complicated pattern, and she found one. Again, I will take a picture and I'll put it up. I don't know what it's called. Sweet Cart, maybe, by Tatiana Rivka. Again, I'll put a picture up and put the link to the Etsy shop because I can't remember. It's the same shop, actually. Different designer. Same shop. I don't know. But it's like a little trolley cart, pink with balloons, and it's really sweet. And she's been working on the cotton candy. So you can't really tell, but there's actually 4 different colors in there. So she said that she wanted it to be more challenging. And there's been a couple of days where she has thrown this across the room. Not across the room. Across the, like on the couch, and just like gotten very frustrated because especially some of the pinks, they're very close to each other. And she also, I'm so proud of her. And my other daughter too. You don't see the holes. Everything that they've always worked on is Ada. And both of them always see me working on like something like a 32 count. And so that's what they wanted. They both like the more solid look of fabric that doesn't have the big squares. Like with Ada, you get the big squares, right? So this is a 28 count Monaco, which is made by DMC. And Evelyn's actually looks different. It's still stiff, and you can still see this is probably where I went wrong, is that Evelyn's is still right off the bolt. So you can still see, I don't know if it's going to pick up. Yes, okay, there you go. You can see the holes, and it's still kind of stiff. Like it's, yeah, it's still stiff. Like it's still got the starches in it. Whereas Alora, she was stitching in hand, and she didn't like the stiffness. So I went ahead and I washed this and then pressed it, and it shrunk just a little bit, not too major. So you don't really see the stitches and the holes. It's a lot, yeah, there you go. It's a lot more dense, and she struggles a little bit finding her stuff, but she's actually been doing really good. Like she hasn't messed up yet. A couple of times she accidentally went over too many threads or whatever, and I've just, you know, picked it out for her, and she's continued. So she'll only put like 3 or, she's 10, right? So she only puts like 3 or 4 or 5 stitches in, and then she's like running off to the other thing. But she's been doing really good. Her other cross stitch, like I said, she's kind of bored with. So, and what can I say? I've got like 4 started, so I can't be all like, well, you can't start another one. But yeah, and then so I made her a little bag as well. Her favorite color is blue. She's the one I was saying she wants that one that says a smooth sea never made a skillful sailor, because it's blue. So I just made her like a navy. It's got a polka dot, and then inside she's got like a pretty purple zipper, and then inside is this cute butterfly pattern. Don't know who made it either, but it's really sweet. I do remember I got this material at a quilt shop in Saskatoon called, well, it's actually out in Warman, called Tiny Stitch. And this fabric on the inside I got from Missouri Star Quilt Company like a couple of years ago. So it's been in my stash for a long time. But yeah, so that is, I think that's it. I think we've come to the end. So yeah, lots of stitching, lots of sewing, lots of knitting. I'm kind of like multi-craft jewel right now. I've been, like I said, I've been really enjoying the stitching. It's just something different. And now there's so many patterns that I just want. Before, when I was stitching when I was younger, it was there was kits and they were kind of old fashioned. Wasn't a huge fan. And even now there's still lots of that. And I don't know. Seem to like the full coverage and the bright splashy watercolor things. And yeah, I don't ever do anything small. That's the problem. That every project that I do is going to take me a long time, but I'm really enjoying it. So I guess that's all I have to share with you guys this week. I'm hoping last time at the end of every episode, I say I hope it's not going to be very long, and then it ends up being a year, and then it was a year and a half. So quite likely the next one I do will be in 2 years, but hopefully it won't. I'm schedule should allow me to do this a little bit more often, and hopefully not in a year and a half. So fingers crossed. I do want to kind of make it a priority because I do miss the whole interacting with you guys, chatting with you, doing all the things and showing you what I'm working on and all that. So yeah, like literally every week for the last year and a half, I've been like, oh, I need to podcast. Like I missed it so much. So I'm really, really excited to be back. I don't know if you are, but if you are, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, do all the things. I don't know. They all say these things. So subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, do all the things. And yeah, so until then, enjoy your stitching, enjoy your knitting, enjoy your crafting, and we will see you again. Bye.